I saw him stepping out of a Lamborghini, and I thought he had it all figured out. 2 years later, I saw him making my coffee at Starbucks, and I asked what happened. The answer completely changed the way I think about money forever. This is James's story, from fake wealth to real poverty. Welcome to Success Talks. We unveil wealth secrets hidden from the world's sight. Step into the domain of financial freedom. Remember, this is for educational purposes only. So here's the deal. We're living in this era where everyone's flexing on social media, right? Designer clothes, luxury cars, exotic vacations. You see it everywhere. But here's what nobody's talking about. Most of it's fake. Like seriously fake. Today I'm going to walk you through the real story of James. And yeah, that's not his real name, but everything else. 100% true. This guy went from being the talk of the town, Mr. Moneybags himself, to completely broke and in serious debt. And the wildest part? He was never actually rich to begin with. By the end of this video, you're gonna understand the difference between looking wealthy and actually being wealthy. You'll learn the red flags of fake wealth, why so many people fall into this trap, and most importantly, how to build real, sustainable wealth that nobody can take away from you. So buckle up, because this story is wild, and the lessons, they might just save your financial future. All right, let me paint you a picture. 5 years ago, James was 28 years old, working a decent sales job, making about $65K a year. Nothing crazy, but definitely not broke. He was living in a nice apartment, had a girlfriend, things were pretty normal. But then something shifted. He started following all these influencers. You know the type. Guys leaning on Ferraris, talking about how they made millions in real estate, crypto, dropshipping, whatever. And James started thinking, why not me? Now here's where it gets interesting. Instead of actually building a business or investing smartly, James decided to look the part first. He figured if he looked successful, success would follow. And honestly, a lot of people think this way. So he goes out and leases, not buys, leases, a BMW 7 Series. We're talking like $100-200 a month. Then he moves into this luxury high-rise apartment downtown, another $3,500 a month. He starts buying designer clothes, Gucci belts, Louis Vuitton bags, you name it. Hitting up expensive restaurants, bottle service at clubs every weekend, always picking up the tab. And the crazy thing, people ate it up. His Instagram started blowing up. Everyone wanted to know what James was doing, how he made his money. Girls were sliding into his DMs. Guys wanted to be his business partner. He became the guy everyone looked up to. But here's what nobody knew. James was drowning. Every single month he was spending about $8,000 to $9,000 just to maintain this image, while only bringing in maybe $5,500 after taxes. You do the math. That's a $3,500 deficit every single month. So how'd he do it? Credit cards. Lots and lots of credit cards. James had pretty decent credit when he started this whole thing, so he applied for every credit card he could get his hands on. Chase Sapphire, American Express, Capital One. Dude had like 12 cards at one point, and he maxed out every single one. At first, he'd tell himself it was an investment. I'm building my brand, he'd say. Once people see I'm successful, the opportunities will come. And you know what? Some opportunities did come. People started hitting him up for business deals, investment opportunities, partnerships. But here's the problem. When you're faking it, you attract other people who are also faking it. Real wealthy people? They can spot a fake from a mile away. They're not impressed by a leased BMW or a rented Rolex. So all these opportunities James was getting, they were either scams or ventures run by people just as broke as he was. He put money he didn't have into businesses that didn't exist. He invested in crypto schemes that went nowhere. He paid for mentorship programs that taught him nothing. Meanwhile, the debt kept piling up. Credit card interest rates are no joke. We're talking 20%, 25%, sometimes 30%, APR. James was paying hundreds of dollars a month just in interest, and he wasn't even touching the principal. His girlfriend started asking questions. Babe, if you're doing so well, why are you stressed about money all the time? He'd brush it off, make excuses, but the cracks were starting to show. And here's something really messed up. The deeper he got into debt, the harder he flexed on social media. It's like he was trying to convince himself as much as everyone else. New watch? Post it. Expensive dinner? Post it. Went to Miami for the weekend on a credit card? Better believe he posted every second of it. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, when your actions don't match your reality. So you double down to make yourself believe the lie. Okay, so fast forward about 2 years into this lifestyle. James is now about $85,000 in debt. His credit score has tanked. He's getting calls from collection agencies. And get this, he loses his job. The company downsized, and James was one of the first to go. Why? Because he'd been so focused on his image and side hustles that his actual work performance had suffered. His boss literally told him, "You seem distracted, like your head's somewhere else." Now he's got no income, massive debt, and a lifestyle that costs more than most people's entire salary. The BMW repossessed within 3 months. The luxury apartment, he got evicted after falling behind on rent. His girlfriend? She left when she found out how bad things really were. James moved back in with his parents at age 30. Imagine going from Mr. Big Shot, posting pictures of champagne bottles and skyline views, to sleeping in your childhood bedroom with your mom asking if you want meatloaf for dinner. But even then, and this is the craziest part, he kept posting on Instagram like everything was fine. He'd take photos at his friends' places, borrow cars for photo shoots, wear the designer clothes he hadn't returned yet. The comments were still rolling in. Goals? Living the dream. Teach me your ways. It wasn't until his credit cards started getting declined at regular places, we're talking like the grocery store, that he finally hit rock bottom. He had a panic attack in the cereal aisle of a Safeway. That's when it all became real. So what happened next? James finally came clean. He deleted all his social media, just wiped everything. Stopped talking to most of his friends because, surprise, surprise, they weren't really friends. They were just people attracted to the image he was projecting. He got a job at Starbucks. Yeah, the guy who was supposedly making 6 figures was now making minimum wage plus tips. And you know what? He said it was the most humbling and necessary thing he'd ever done. He started seeing a therapist to deal with the anxiety and depression. Turns out, living a lie for years takes a serious toll on your mental health. Who knew? He also started learning about actual personal finance, not the get-rich-quick stuff, but real financial literacy. Budgeting, debt payoff strategies, investment basics, credit repair, all the boring stuff that actually matters. James worked with a credit counselor and set up a debt repayment plan. He was making minimum payments on everything except one card, which he attacked aggressively, using the avalanche method, paying off the highest interest rate first. It took him almost 4 years, but he paid off all $85,000. 4 years of living with his parents, working multiple jobs, saying no to everything fun, driving a beat-up Honda Civic he bought for $3,000 on Craigslist. But here's what's beautiful. Somewhere along the way, James found peace. He wasn't anxious anymore. He wasn't constantly checking his phone, worried about maintaining an image. He could sleep at night. And that, my friends, is what real wealth feels like. All right, so let's break down what we can learn from James's disaster. Because this isn't just about one dude who made bad choices. This is happening everywhere, every single day. First up, the difference between looking wealthy and being wealthy. Looking wealthy is easy. You can lease a luxury car for the price of a decent used car payment. You can rent designer clothes, stay in nice hotels you can't afford, eat at expensive restaurants on credit. But none of that builds actual wealth. Real wealth, that's assets minus liabilities. It's having more money coming in than going out. It's investments that grow over time. It's the ability to weather a financial storm without panicking. Real wealth is boring. It's a diversified investment portfolio, a fully funded emergency fund, no high-interest debt, and living below your means. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people on the planet, lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He drives a regular car. He eats at McDonald's. That's real wealth. No need to prove anything to anyone. Second lesson, social media is a highlight reel, not reality. Listen, for every person actually living the life they post about, There are probably 10 people faking it like James was. That influencer with the private jet. It's probably a rental for the photo shoot. The luxury lifestyle could be all sponsored or borrowed. And even for the people who are actually wealthy, you're seeing 1% of their life. You're not seeing the years of work, the sacrifices, the failures, the boring Tuesday nights at home. You're seeing the polished, edited, filtered version they want you to see. Comparing your real life to someone's highlight reel is a recipe for misery and bad financial decisions. Third, the fake it till you make it mentality is dangerous. Look, I get it. There's some truth to the idea that confidence and image matter in business. But there's a massive difference between dressing professionally for a job, interview, and leasing a Lamborghini. You can't afford to impress strangers on the internet. Real faking it till you make it is about confidence and competence, not material possessions. It's walking into a room and acting like you belong there, even if you're nervous. It's speaking up in a meeting, even if you're the newest person on the team. It's not buying stuff you can't afford to create an illusion. Fourth, debt is a tool, not a lifestyle. Credit cards aren't inherently evil. Loans aren't inherently bad. Rich people use debt all the time, but strategically. They borrow money at low interest rates to invest in assets that appreciate or generate income. What James did was consumer debt for depreciating assets and experiences. That's the fastest way to go broke. If you're borrowing money to fund a lifestyle rather than build wealth, you're doing it wrong. Finally, real wealth is about freedom, not stuff. The goal isn't to have a fancy car or a big house. I mean, those things are nice if you can actually afford them, but the real goal is freedom. Freedom to choose how you spend your time. Freedom from financial stress. Freedom to say no to things that don't serve you. Freedom to pursue passions without worrying about money. James thought wealth was about impressing people. Now he knows it's about living life on your own terms. So let me give you some actual, practical steps to build real wealth. The boring stuff that actually works. Step 1. Live below your means. I know, super sexy advice, right? But seriously, if you're spending everything you make, or worse, more than you make, you will never build wealth, period. Aim to save and invest at least 20% of your income. Start small if you need to, but make it a priority. Step 2. Eliminate high-interest debt. Credit card debt, payday loans, any debt with an interest rate above 10%, that's an emergency. Pay it off as fast as you can. Use the avalanche method or the snowball method, whichever keeps you motivated. Step 3. Build an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses in a savings account. This is your stuff happens fund. Car breaks down? Emergency fund. Lose your job? Emergency fund. Medical bill? Emergency fund. This keeps you from going into debt when life throws you a curveball. Step 4. Invest for the long term. Max out your 401k. Match if your employer offers one. That's free money. Open a Roth IRA. Invest in low-cost index funds. Let compound interest work its magic over decades. This is how regular people become millionaires. Step 5. Increase your income. There's only so much you can cut from your budget. At some point you need to make more money. Learn new skills. Ask for a raise, switch jobs. Start a side hustle, whatever it takes. But do it strategically, not by faking success. Step 6. Ignore the noise. Stop comparing yourself to others. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about your financial situation. Focus on your own journey. Run your own race. Building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. It's not exciting. It's not Instagram-worthy. But it works. So what happened to James? Last I heard, he's doing pretty well. He's got a solid job in tech sales, making good money again. He's got a modest apartment, drives that same Honda Civic, and has about $40,000 saved up. He's dating someone who loves him for who he actually is, not the image he projects. He told me the best part about his life now is that it's real. No more anxiety, no more lying, no more pretending. He can sleep at night. He's building something sustainable. And honestly, he seems happier than he ever did when he was rich. The lesson here isn't that you shouldn't want nice things or pursue success. You absolutely should. The lesson is that real wealth is built on a foundation of truth, discipline, and patience, not credit cards and Instagram likes. Stop chasing the image. start building the reality. If this story hit home for you or you know someone who needs to hear it, do me a favor, smash that like button and drop a comment below. Tell me, have you ever felt pressured to look more successful than you actually are? Let's talk about it. And hey, if you want more real talk about wealth, success, and financial freedom without the BS, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We drop new videos every week that'll help you build the life you actually want, not just the one that looks good on camera. Coming up next, we're diving into the psychology of money and why smart people make dumb financial decisions. You're not going to want to miss it. Until then, stay real, stay focused, and remember, true wealth whispers, it doesn't shout.